Hi guys, we will start with a broadcast section that's got no embargo, followed by an embargo section of 10:30 p.m. tonight. No live tweeting or blogging during the broadcast section, please, and phones on silent. Michael.
Hi Ange, internationals all back. Can I get the team news please for tomorrow?
Yeah, everyone back. We had everyone back yesterday. Sort of had an afternoon session, which was more of a recovery session for everyone. And today it's sort of full session, and everyone was good. No issues. They all got through training okay, and we'll obviously still see how they recover from that. But at this point in time, come through unscathed and available.
I was going to say congratulations on the FIFA World's Best Coach nominee. Then just been announced that you're now the Premier League Manager of the Month. You must be very proud. I mean, I know the FIFA one is more with your time with Celtic. This one's obviously your short time here at Spurs. But it's been a great few years for you.
Yeah, look, you do. I take great pride, but also understand that I'm kind of in all those things. I'm just sort of the front man. I mean, whether it's the manager of the month. Obviously, we've had a really promising start to the season after a fair say challenging pre-season, and that's because I've got great staff and the players have all sort of embraced the challenge of us beginning this season in a promising fashion. It's a credit to everyone that the way they've tackled that, and as I said, I'm kind of the front man for that. But I think it's an indication of us as a club, that we've handled a pretty challenging start, fairly well, which is great. And and for the FIFA nomination, I mean, obviously, fairly humbled, but again, I'm just wrapped that it's recognition again of a great group of people that I worked with, staff and players, everyone involved at Celtic, the fans, and it's great recognition for that club. It's a great club. And sometimes its achievements gets diminished because people sort of look down on the league. But I think any time you win a treble, and we did that last year in the best possible manner. We won the league. We beat Rangers in both the cups. It wasn't easy in any stretch. And I just think it's great recognition for that football club. Again, I'm just the front man, but I'm really, really pleased and rapt that that great football club gets the recognition it deserves.
It's been a difficult few weeks for Richarlison. He's revealed to Brazilian media he's going to seek psychological help. How is it? And is this a little bit more than just putting your arm around his shoulder and say you're going to score soon?
No, look, I think with all the players, they all get whatever help and assistance that they require here. It doesn't always happen in the sort of in the public eye, because most of it's done in-house, but we provide all the support and whatever players may need. Sometimes they seek help, sometimes we offer the help. So whatever Richie needs, we'll help him get to the space where he wants to. And from our perspective, it doesn't obviously he's put it out there because obviously he was quite emotional after a game, and that's fine. We'll give him the support he needs, and but we do that with all the players. And I think most professional clubs do. And my role within that is to make sure that whatever each player needs, and sometimes it's basic things like help with nutrition or relocating or whatever it may be. The services are here, and the help is here to get players into the place they want to. And what I will say is that no one has a perfect life. Sometimes we look at footballers and they do things well, and they've got all the money they need, and we think that's a perfect life. But that doesn't make you immune from life itself. So I'm sure that every player in our dressing room is dealing with something. It's about giving, and sometimes players, I think, fall into the trap of thinking their life should be perfect because of the position they're in. But that's not how life works. That what you do and all those kind of things, like I said, don't make you immune from what life throws at you. There's always going to be something in your life that is not where you want it to be. It's about keeping perspective, keeping a balance. There are probably parents and people this morning who've probably had a few rough days, but they still have to front up to work and not lose their job, because that's part of life. And that's kind of the advice I give to all the players, is to always try and keep a balance, because you're always going to have something in your life that's probably not where you want it to be.
Absolutely. On the 25-man squad, Ange, I suppose it's fair to say most expected Hugo to have moved on by now. He hasn't. Eric Dyer didn't find another club, so they are back in the squad.
Yeah, look, I think, as I said, leading into it, it was a fairly fluid sort of situation. You know, we weren't really sure what was going to happen with Hugo. Eric was never out of the squad; he was here, but I obviously had to make decisions around the 25-man squad. Now, on the last day of the window, we had Reguilon moving to Man U, then Dembele and Sanchez out, so that's 3 foreigners where, you know, if one of them had stayed, then would have been a different decision, which I'd kind of already stated publicly. But once we kind of got to the end of the window, we knew what the numbers we had. You know, Hugo and Eric were still with us, so you know, we had room to put them on the list, and they're on the list, and nothing's really changed from that perspective. They were training before with the first team, they're still training, and they're still available now.
Congrats again.
Thank you, bud. Thank you.
Niv.
Hi, good afternoon. James Madison won the August Player of the Month award. How pleased are you with not only the quality he brings to Spurs, but also his leadership on and off the pitch?
Yeah, no, spot on. I think that's been really pleasing. Not just, as you said, I think, you know, for us it was a fairly low risk acquisition because he's just a quality player. We knew that, but I think the way he's embraced the whole football club and you know, his contribution on and off the field, he's obviously part of the leadership group, but you know, the way he's just embraced the whole group and the whole club has been fantastic for us, because as I said, we haven't had an ideal build up leading into the season, and you know, him coming in, and I guess what you're looking for players like him who are coming in with enthusiasm and a freshness that maybe the players who were here from last year were still carrying some baggage. You know, guys like him and the others that were brought in have sort of just created a real good energy around the place. So yeah, delighted for Matt, and as you said, it's just as much for what he's done around the club as he has obviously on the field.
Sheffield United, like Burnley, a newly promoted side that struggled so far this season. How similar do you think the game tomorrow would be to the Burnley game?
A little bit different. I think, you know, obviously when you play away from home, it's different. I think, you know, the way Burnley play and the way Sheffield set up is different. It'll be a different challenge for us, but within that context, it's still going to be, you know, difficult. You know, having watched their games, you know, Paul's got them really well set up, really well organised. They're fighting for everything, and you know that that's what they're going to do here tomorrow. They're not going to sort of give us anything or allow us any sort of comfort during the game. So we've got to be really disciplined tomorrow in not veering away from our principles and not getting drawn away from the kind of team and the kind of football we want to play. And it's not easy because, like I said, they're going to make it difficult for us. They're going to try and frustrate us, and we're going to have to be really at our best in terms of our focus on what's important for the game tomorrow. So it'll be a good challenge.
How do you think you personally managed to support Ibn Bissouma so far? Because what we're seeing from this year is very different than what he showed last season.
Yeah, look, I think I said during the week, I haven't done that much. It's him, you know, and you know, I keep saying it, but you know, players have, you know, their kind of destiny sometimes in their own hands, you know, and you know, if Biss had to come in here this year and sort of felt sorry for himself about what happened last year and sort of was thinking about that too much, then, you know, if it was waiting for me to snap him out of it, I think, you know, he wouldn't have been at the place he is now. He's done it by himself. You know, he came in from the first day of pre-season with great energy. I knew he was a quality player. You know, I think the way we play suits him, and the rest has been down to him. He works hard every day. You know, he's been outstanding in the games, and you know, he deserves the credit for that, and he just needs to keep doing that and keep pushing himself and not sort of get to a place where, you know, again, maybe he feels comfortable that, you know, things are going well, because I still think there's another level in him. You know, I think there's certainly, he can take his game to another level, and that helps us to get to another level.
George.
Angelo, I just wondered, just in general on the transfer window, and now it's shut, are you happy with everything? It's quite a high turnover of players. You've had players coming in and out. I just wondered, are you happy with what you and the club have done?
Yeah, I am, because, you know, obviously the first thing you look at is, well, you know, the guys who brought in, are they making a contribution? And I think it's fair to say that, you know, apart from Brennan, who obviously we brought in fairly late, and young Alejo Villas, who had his first training session with us yesterday, the rest have been really significant contributors for us, that's the main thing you're looking for. There has been significant turnover. A lot of players moved out in the end. And I reckon that's about the maximum you can do in one window without it being really disruptive, particularly with me, a new manager coming in, new staff. There's so many new dynamics that I always felt this window was about, you know, making that first steps to rebuilding the squad. And I think they've been so far positive first steps. But it was never all going to get done in this first window. I didn't expect it to. So we've still got some work to do in terms of, you know, creating a squad and an environment where, you know, we can be challenging for things. But I think as an overall, you know, with everything that happened, ins and outs, I think we're in a pretty good space.
I read tomorrow that if you win, it will be Tottenham's best start to a season since 1965. So just in terms of you winning Manager of the Month, James Maddison getting Player of the Month, I mean, if you do that, and this has been a pretty good start to the season, did you expect it to go well, or did you anticipate more problems since you arrived?
If, the beautiful word if. And what if we don't? Does it mean everything's been a disaster?
Do you
No.
think you've had a good start though?
I think we've had a promising start. I think I've said that. Look, I was never, I didn't go into it with any kind of expectations about where we needed to be. What I wanted to see was, you know, have we started, you know, embedding a style of play into the group. That was the key thing for me, because that's where you know that if we have done that, then I've got staff who are practically putting that into place. I've got players who are embracing that, and then you know from that, well, we'll grow and we'll get to where we want to. So in terms of points tally and wins and that, whatever it was going to be, that was still going to be the key component, because we could be sitting on 10 points. And if we hadn't played the kind of football we are, trust me, I wouldn't be sitting here feeling comfortable, even if we had another win tomorrow, because that's not what we're looking for in the long term. We're looking to play a certain way. So I think, you know, as I said, it's been promising, it's been encouraging, but we're a month into a long season, so a long way to go.
And just on Hugo and Eric, obviously two senior players. Are they both back into your squad full pelt now, and you could pick them tomorrow going forward? And how do they feel about everything that's happened over the last 6 weeks?
So they were never out, mate. They were training with us from the first day. They were involved in everything from the first day. Nothing's changed, you know, from our perspective. I mean, Eric had an injury, so he wasn't even available for the last 2 games. So he's only just got back into training this week since we've been on international break. Hugo's been training with her goalkeeping group, so nothing's really changed from that perspective.
Ali?
With Hugo, though, obviously he's been at the club 11 years, real kind of servant to the club. Where is he now going to sit in the pecking order? Obviously you've got number 1, Fraser's very much been the backup. Does he have to now work his way back up there if he can?
Well, I mean, you're assuming there's a pecking order, mate. I don't know. I just, like, he's a player. He's a Tottenham player. He's training every day and he's available like everyone else. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed from now to last week to the week before. You know, the reason people play is because I believe that they're going to get us to where we want to get to. The ones who are part of the squad are there because their work's got them to that position. The ones who aren't in the squad need to work hard to get it and wait for their opportunity. There's no pecking order, mate. There's no chicken coop. There's nothing. There's no farm animals. We're just working away.
Obviously let Davinson Sanchez go. Were there any concerns at all about the cover in the centre-back position?
Yeah, look, it's fair to say we are a little bit light there, but at the same time, I thought, you know, I think for Davison it was a good opportunity where we could get a long-term contract. It was, you know, we needed to rebuild and change this squad. There was no point us just sort of tinkering around the edges. Like, we need to do meaningful work, and as I said, it was never going to get done in one window. So just as important was, you know, to create the opportunity for us now to go into January or, you know, the subsequent windows and you know, bolster up that area. You know, it's fair to say we still need probably another centre-back within the squad. Although we've got players who, you know, are fairly functional and being able to do a job for us in there. We've got young Ash in, who's, you know, working really hard and improving all the time. But you know, I think for us just to hold on to something for some sort of security, I just think would have been a missed opportunity. We need to change the squad. We need to rebuild this team, and you know, that was the reason, you know, we allowed Davison to go.
Last one from me. Rodrigo Bentancur, we saw images of him doing a warm-up with the squad. How important is that for him? I know it's an early step, but just to feel part of the squad.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, he came sort of barging in my room wanting to start with the team, but you know, it's a tough, you know, rehab. You know, talk to any player, and that's the toughest bit. It's not that you have to do the work; it's the it's the solitary element of it where you're not with the group, and just having him do the warm-ups and him being involved, he was buzzing yesterday, and then he was fairly dejected when we pulled him out after the warm-up. So, but it's good, and you know, he'll build himself away. It's fair to say he's still got a fair bit of work to do, but yeah, great to have him involved, and I guess that just encourages him a little bit more, and it's great for the group to see him.
Charlie?
Do you want to ask, obviously very early days, but just your first impressions on Brennan Johnson?
Yeah, good. You know, great to get him in. Again, he's got a great sort of profile for us, and you know, very similar to the other guys we've brought in that, you know, he's young, but he's had some good experience already. Footballing qualities he brings, you know, I think fit really well with what we want to do in terms of he's got energy, he's got pace. You know, I think he presses really well. You know, he's a wide player but can score goals. So, you know, from that perspective, he ticks all the boxes. And like I said, when I look at his career, he's obviously, you know, he's been at Forest since he was a kid. You know, that's his football club, but he's taken the decision to go now challenge himself. And I just think it was a really good fit for us as a club. So, you know, he's had a couple of sessions with the boys, and again, you know, group's been really good in embracing all the new players who have come in, and I think he feels comfortable, and yeah, you know, looking forward to getting him into action.
See, him and Kulusevski are quite different players in some ways. Is that quite good for you? Because hopefully there won't be too many players being overloaded with too many games. Does it give you that option that you can pick different options?
Yeah, and again, I've stated that before. That, you know, I've never been one who just kind of likes to double up in positions. I like, you know, players to bring different qualities to that. And I think you're right. You know, Decky and Brennan are different players, and they can both play more than one position in that front half, which is what kind of we're looking for. I think, you know, you look at Manor and Ivan, are different kind of wingers. You know, Sonny's a different kind of winner, and then we've got, you know, Sonny and Richie are different kind of strikers. So even our midfielders, they've all got different qualities, but you know, basic elements of it fit in with our football. And you know, I like the fact, because sometimes you've got to change it within the game, and bringing on a different type of winger helps you. Other times, game to game, you need a different type of personnel to counteract the opposition. So yeah, that's another reason I thought it was a really good fit for us.
You were talking before about the kind of fact from the outside, we often don't know what's going on in a player's personal life, and that's the thing. Where do you think football is with the understanding of mental health and the importance of having psychologists and people who get that side of the game?
I think we do understand it. It's just that we ignore it. But you know what? Who in their life doesn't have something that's stressful? I mean, I've lived 58 years now, and there's never been a time in my life where everything is perfect. You know, I lost my father 3 years ago, and he should have been here for the journey. So I've got to deal with that. Everyone, and that's just me talking personally, but everybody in this room at this moment, you could be, one part of your life could be flying, but there'll be something. It could be a family member, it could be a health issue, it could be a financial issue. There's always something, and footballers are not immune from that. And sometimes I think they fall into the trap of thinking they are, and they're not, because just because you have, you know, money or you're really good at something, life will still find a way to keep a balance in that. There'll be stuff in there that's going to be stressful, it's going to be upsetting, and you've got to just deal with that, you know.
But do you think enough people in the game understand that as well as you do?
I don't think anyone doesn't understand. I think, like I said, I just think we choose to ignore it. We just at times think, well, he's a footballer, he's got money, what's he got to complain about? You know, well, of course he does. But then the footballer has to also understand that, you know, his life is not, you know, perfection doesn't exist in life. There are, you know, plenty of people, you know, who have what we would assume to have all the advantages in life, who are fairly unhappy, you know. So that doesn't exist. So it's just a matter of, I think for the most part, people are, you know, understand that that's the case and empathetic. Sometimes we just choose to ignore it because it makes a better, not a better story, but it just makes a more impactful kind of scenario that, you know, wow, you know, fantastic footballer has problems. Well, they all do, mate. You know, they all do.
Just really quick, is Celso all good?
Yeah, he's not available for this weekend. Did train with us yesterday, but we're kind of probably give him another week. But hopefully should be available for next week.
George, we'll finish the broadcast section with you, please.
Hi, Ange. I just wanted to ask you, during this last week since Hugo and Eric were not moving on, have you had any sort of one-on-one chat with them about what their role is, or do you not feel like you need to have that?
Oh maybe I should have the pecking order discussion with them. No, I don't, because that would mean that I've been treating them different up until now. Nothing's changed, from my perspective. And if the players feel the need to seek clarification on something, then my door's always open. But I haven't felt the need to speak to them individually about anything. Like I said, they're Tottenham players. They're available selection. They have been from the first day, and nothing's really changed.
And you mentioned Eric had an injury the last couple of games, but I guess that probably opened the door for Ash Phillips to be on the bench at Burnley. If the situation, arose itself, would you have any hesitation playing Ash in the Premier League, or feel like he could do a decent job?
Yeah, no, that's why he's in the squad. We obviously, that's why we signed him. We think he's got some great potential. Obviously, it's hard because he hasn't played, at all for us sort of yet, in terms of, he wasn't here for the pre-season and missed all that. So we just got to be careful. But he has had, a couple of under-21 games, which is great. We'll try and get him some game time. But I think training with us every day, and you can see he's getting closer and closer. And if we need to use him, we will. Yeah.
And just finally from me, I don't know if you saw, but Nick Montgomery, who's not Australian but was coaching in Australia with second person now taking over with Burnley, and he sort of mentioned you being an inspiration in terms of doing that. How nice is it to see someone else following your journey, albeit not being Australian?
Yeah, no, Nick's done brilliantly in Australia. He's done a fantastic job at a club. Fair to say, in Australia, he's not considered one of the big ones, and he actually won the whole thing last year. And he's done it in a real, in a great way, where he's developed young players as well. And yeah, great, he gets the opportunity. I'm glad people are looking. I think I said a few weeks before, I'm glad they're looking beyond just the obvious in terms of candidates, whether they're at their doorstep or on the other side of the world. And I've got no doubt he'll do well. I think Hibs is a great club. I haven't been up there. It's a big club. When you play against them, you feel like it's a big club. And fair to say that there's an opportunity there to get them, to a decent position in the Premiership and get them European football. And I'm sure Nick will do that. So pleased for him.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there and move on to the embargoed section for 10:30 p.m. tonight.